I was just thinking that the roof is finally replaced, and we don't have to worry about the snow melting and leaking and coming in here. So praise God. Thank you for that, God. Our reading today was from the Gospel of Mark. It's one of my favorite readings. And Mark likes to use the word immediately. And it's a word that I could have used today. I'll tell you a little story. I usually do research throughout the week for my sermon to prepare. And then I get up early Sunday morning and kind of type out what I'm going to say. And then keep reading and changing. Yeah. Well, the last week, Microsoft Word has been reminding me that my Microsoft Word is about ready to expire, like in a matter of days. So, you know, I'll do it this week, I'll do it sometime later. And when I opened up Microsoft Word today, I got a warning. And I didn't even bother to read it. I just clicked on through. When I went to print, my printer wouldn't turn on. I tried to check that out, couldn't get anything to print. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to save everything to my little flash drive. I'll bring it in and print it here. Well, that didn't work. I bring it here and it says my sermon is a corrupt file. Okay, so immediately I should have renewed my Microsoft Word, and immediately when I go home today I will renew it. Live and learn, what can you say? I find it interesting that Mark talks about how Jesus called those first disciples as they were doing their work with their family, and how immediately they stopped and dropped everything to follow him. I was wondering, Jesus is not here physically to call us to say, come and follow me, and he certainly wasn't there in the first century when they believed the Gospel of Mark was written. So what was Mark trying to tell us in his story? I think it's about following Jesus and how we do that in general. We follow him in a particular and very distinct ways that may or may not be like those very first disciples. Perhaps in today's world we follow Jesus by volunteering at our senior center. Amen. Or by becoming a teacher. Perhaps we follow by looking out for those who always seem to be on the outside and invite them into the inside. Amen. Perhaps we follow him by doing a job that we don't like, but contributes to supporting our family and helping others. Perhaps we follow by being generous with our wealth and with our time. Perhaps we follow just by listening to those around us and responding with encouragement and care. Perhaps we're following by caring for an aging parent or a special needs child or someone else who needs our care. There are many ways to follow Jesus. We don't have to drop everything and pick up our tent and move to some strange land. I think what the heart of the matter is that we can follow Jesus in many different ways and circumstances by trying to imitate him, by trying to treat others with the same regard, love, and patience that he did, including all manners of people, but especially those who are overlooked by society. I think at the heart of what it means to be a Christian, and I use that word, seldom do I use that word anymore because I think it's gotten such a bad reputation. I would much prefer to say people of the way or follower of Jesus. But I think what it means to be people of the way, a follower of Jesus, a Christian, is that we try to live and treat others just as Jesus did. And we do that by embracing his values of inclusiveness, love, forgiveness, compassion, and healing. Amen. He radiated that both in word and in his actions. Wherever he went, he included all of those that were there to greet him. He included those who were on the outskirts. He always showed love deeply for people. He often told people they were forgiven for the things they thought they had done wrong. And he certainly healed many. And he showed compassion. Sometimes it's hard to try and follow Jesus and try to see that God is in each person that we encounter. Often I think it's the less likable people that we have trouble seeing God in. And yet those are the ones that probably need our love and our kindness the most.
Amen.
It's not about us becoming better disciples if we choose to follow Jesus, but it's about knowing and experiencing him more deeply, just by embracing what he embraced and living our lives as he lived his life. Albert Schweitzer was a theologian, a doctor, and a Bach scholar. And he wrote The Quest of the Historical Jesus. And when I was preparing for ministry, I did a year-long study with a group of other clergy on the historical Jesus. And it stripped away all of this that we've elevated Jesus to as an idol to be worshipped sometimes. And it taught us how he really lived his life as he traveled from town to town, what his message was truly all about. And what Schweitzer came to believe is that we can only come to know Jesus fully by following him and by embracing how he lived his life.
Amen.
He writes this, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. He comes to us as one unknown, without a name, as of old, by the lakeside. He came to those who knew him not. He speaks to us the same word, follow me, and sets us to the tasks which he has to fulfill for our time. He commands. And to those who obey him, whether they be wise or simple, he will reveal himself in the toils, the conflicts, the sufferings which they shall pass through in his fellowship. And as an undescribable mystery, they shall learn in their own experience who he truly is.
Hallelujah.
That really resonates with me. It's so easy to call yourself a Christian, and your actions and your words say something entirely different. Anybody can say they're a Christian. I can say I'm a top model. Doesn't make it so. You know, I can say I'm a size 2. It doesn't make it so. It's when you live out the values that Jesus taught us. When you truly follow him, that's when you get to truly know him. And in return, you'll experience the deep and abiding joy that this world cannot take away.
Amen.
I pray that this week, that as you go through your busy week, that perhaps you will see if perhaps Jesus is calling you to immediately drop what you're doing and reach out to somebody who may be in need. Sometimes we get so busy, we forget to look at people. We're always in our phones or on Facebook or doing this. This is out in public, and we don't look at the cashier that's checking us out in the grocery line, who's going through a really difficult time as she tells us to have a good day, and we're so busy we don't even bother to say it back. Perhaps it's a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, someone that may be hurting or just in need of a kind word. I pray that you will embrace the historical Jesus, how he traveled the countryside, calling to those to come and break bread with me. Come and experience God's love firsthand. It's not about following a list of rules and regulations. It's not about judging others. It's not about controlling others, telling them how to live their lives. It's about showing love and kindness and passion. Will you pray with me, please? Beloved God, we thank you for Jesus and the way we can truly try to follow in his steps. We thank you, God, that when we go through our own struggles in this world, that we still can follow in his steps. And I believe that it's the times in our challenges and our conflicts and our sufferings is when we truly get to know him. Strengthen us and renew us, O God, as a community of faith. There is still yet much to be done. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.